Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to do a video. This is another paid request, this time for Shawn. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or reactions, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And pretty much wanted me to do a commentary on the Lost Boys. So have it set up here. Thanks once again, Shawn. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So you have the Warner Bros. Logo. So the Lost Boys, definitely one of my favorite vampire films of all time. My favorite is From Dusk Till Dawn. I love the original Fright Night. This is definitely the top 5 though. Because you have the great song Cry Little Sister. Richard Donner production. I think originally they wanted Richard Donner to direct it. And it was going to be sort of like the Goonies meets vampires, where the kids were a lot younger, but then they got Joe Schumacher, and Schumacher wanted a more sexier version, so made them older characters. Great soundtrack this film has. This song, Lost in the Shadows, People Are Strange, and great soundtrack, and some stylish shots with the camera work. And then here we got our characters. We got Kiefer Sutherland. At the back there we got Alex Winter, who will later be Bill S. Preston Esquire, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Kiefer Sutherland just has a cool demeanor. Play it cool because they know what they can do, what they're able to do, so they can play it cool. A nice job on, they did a nice job on a lot of these aerial shots to really showcase the point of view of what these characters could do. Because you don't see a lot of them actually flying around. I think because they knew that once they did that, it would look goofy and silly no matter what you could do with effects. So the point of view seems like the better fit. I think that was the right idea. I do wonder how they did that, because it's really fucking high. It's really high. Really to close in on them. I mean, even a crane shot, I mean, that's still really damn high to have the camera. Here you go. And yeah, of course, the cast is crazy. Corey Feldman, who was in the Goonies. Jamie Gertz, who... Jason Patrick, who worked on Solar Babies. Corey Haim, rest in peace. Edward Herman. They play Herman Monster when they try to make newer monster stuff. Jason Patrick would go on to be in the classes Speed 2, Cruise Control. Kiefer Sutherland would be on the TV show 24, on many other movies. Flatliners, worked with Joel Schumacher again. Murder capital of the world. course, a song that originally was sang by The Doors, but here was it Echo of the Bunnyman, I think. The first time I had heard this song was in this movie from these guys. So I guess I'm partial to this version. Remembers your name when you're strange. Of course, all the missing people. Of course, we already know the idea. The vampires took them all. They didn't need to eat. Any jobs around here? Well, nothing legal. Joe Schumacher was always labeled such a bad director just because of those Batman movies, and they just neglect like all the good that he did. Because people always kept going back to the bat nipples and the cod pieces, and yeah, it was silly, and it was ridiculous, and it was embarrassing. But you know what? DC Cab, I think, is a fun movie. Mr. T, the Barbarian Brothers, Adam Baldwin, Jerry Busey. This is, to me, one of the best vampire films made. Flatliners, bit of an underrated movie. A Time to Kill, really good dramatic work from Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, Samuel L. Jackson. Falling Down is great. 8mm is great. I like Phone Booth quite a bit. I mean, they just neglect all these films because of those two Batman movies. It's ridiculous to me. That's why I still consider Joel Schumacher, may he rest in peace, underrated director. Whenever I rewatches, I always have to remind myself that technically this guy knows that there's vampires around. If he's dead, he would go back to Phoenix. Now, I've never been a huge Jason Patrick fan. I thought he did fine enough in this movie. I just always thought he wasn't really the most charismatic actor and didn't have the most range of emotions. He does, like you said, he does fine in this. And Diane Weiss does a good job playing like the sweet mom. And yeah, I think like back in 1987, there's even a lot less things you could do in terms of obviously there's no computer, there'd be no internet. And if there's a computer around, it'd be like war games type of stuff, I guess. To be fair, internet isn't a thing. For I said, there's really no TV here. So I guess in other words, you had to go out into the real world and look and shit. Sorry, I'm listening to the dialogue. And back in the day when you had TV guides, some people might not even know what the hell a TV guide is. Nowadays, people even barely watch cable. All these streaming services. What was the joke someone had? Why don't we take all these streaming services and put them all together in one go, and we'll call this thing called cable? That's what cable used to be. I mean, it was funny. Like you can't find anything to watch, but now you do have a choice of what to watch. But it's just you have to get 15 fucking things to find them all. Of course, there's always this saxophone player guy, which he became almost like a little cult figure from this movie as well. It's the saxophone guy. Where I think they try to have him or someone like him back in one of the sequels, and he, you know, put on a little bit of weight, a bit bigger guy. I don't know if it was the same guy, but they had the same idea. Definitely in great shape in this movie, though. And I don't mind the song either. Still believe. Jamie Gertz, beautiful lady. I barely remember the film they were in before Solar Babies. I know that eventually did get like a Blu-ray or something. I don't know, it's just this type of, you don't really see a lot of people rock out with saxophones. So I think that made it a little bit more unique. And the fact that he's doing it all shirtless as well. I guess with a body like that, you don't need no shirt. Wouldn't be able to fit in shirts. I guess, with this is what you would do. You'd go, oh, there's that missing guard. Shitload of missing people. There's Edward Herman. I will say that's definitely a interesting twist. I don't see how you would ever see it coming that this guy is the head vampire. I mean, they make him a character that is showcased throughout it. They showcase that he has some kind of knowledge on these guys, but you just assume, understandably so, oh well, it's because these guys look like they're trouble and they'll wreck the shop and mess with the customers. And but you watch, it's like, oh yeah, he's the boss, he's the leader. They're like, okay, Dad, we'll do what you say. But I think that's kind of the something people don't really talk about. Again, watch it again. The scene makes sense. I'm your boss. I'm the head vampire. Get the fuck out of here. But on the flip side, you just understandably assume, hey, you punch, get out of my shop. This is an old school electronics store. We have a poster for National Lampoon's. Was it Vacation or European Vacation? Can't remember which one. All the old school TVs there. The TVs with the fat asses behind them. Back in the day when TVs had big fat asses. There was no such thing as thin TVs at that time. Yeah, here we'll be meeting the Fraud Brothers, Corey Feldman and Jamison Newlander. Which we'll admit, I mean, they did a good job in this. They definitely had an entertaining personality, and Feldman and him worked well together. Kind of like the idea that they're comic book fans as well. Before it was cool to like comic books. Because nowadays, oh, look at all these comic book movies, superhero movies. Back then, liking comic books seemed to be the outsider view to like these. Oh, you like those funny books? I will say they give Corey Haim like the ugliest, shittiest outfits. I don't know what the deal is. Mr. Phoenix, Simon Phoenix? No, because they're from Phoenix. But yeah, I mean, Corey Feldman is one of those guys that back to the day I did like, and he was a good kid actor. Stand By Me, The Goonies, this film, he did a really good job. He fit fine in The Burbs. And after that, I think his acting just went downhill. I don't think he was the right voice for Donatello and Ninja Turtles. I've always said that. I think the guy in the second film, Adam Carl, was a much, much better fit. When he would team up with Corey Haim, I think Corey Haim was easily the better actor. That's why, for the most part, Corey Haim would get the bigger role. Like Dream a Little Dream, Corey Feldman was more of the star, but then you had License to Drive, which honestly had a bit more. That seemed like it had a little bit more mainstream appeal, and Corey Haim was the lead. And a lot of times they would team up together and they'd blown away. Feldman's in it, but Corey Haim's the lead. Last Resort, I mean, I barely remember. Where that couple. Again, good choice to make this all like POV, because like I said, if you see all these guys flying around like Superman, it would elicit, I think, laughs instead. So, plus it still gives a sense of mystery. Like you know there's vampires, of course, but it's still a certain sense of mystery of other aspects of it. And Corey Feldman, just you look at him nowadays, he just seems like a guy who's full of shit, a guy who's a liar. He puts Corey Haim under the bus, like that whole the Truth documentary, the blank of two Tories. I don't want to say the word because you two don't like it. Throughout that documentary, he's like bad mouthing Corey Haim. He's this, he's this, he's this, and then it felt like a big publicity stunt. And I remember there were interviews where who was he? The kid from The Toy. Let's see. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm not good with names. Let's see real quick. Scott Schwartz. Scott Schwartz was friends with Corey Haim. And he did this interview where he just told a lot of these. I know you just say, well, maybe Scott Schwartz is lying as well. You look at Corey Feldman and you look at the way he behaves and the way he has treated people and the stories of, his tour that went completely up shit creek. It wasn't paying people and all this other stuff. Corey Feldman does do a good job trying to have this mentality of Rambo, truth, justice, and the American way. Did you see from this, like, the appeal of how these two could work together? Right. I'll pray. it just Corey Feldman like made up a lot of shit. It seemed like, for example, he said Corey Feldman says all these interviews about, oh, it happened at this point, it happened at this point. He keeps getting the location wrong. Uh, there's something called Lord of the Lies, Corey Feldman by Channel 3LD. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 12 seconds. Again, Lord of the Lies. I recommend checking that out. This is a very, very interesting look into it all. And in 1 hour and 1 minute, Lord of the Lies, Corey Feldman. Check it out. I think you'd be very, that'd be very interesting for people to take a look at. That's just the way I look at it. To the get into the whole thing would take too much time and take away from the Lost Boys. So, and Corey Haim I've always liked. Corey Haim I've always enjoyed. Corey Haim I've always been a fan of. And right, see, there's another song, great. Lost in the shadows. It's pretty neat location. You have that backdrop with the roller coasters and the whole lighted back. You know, nice camera work to follow these motorcycles around. Which a motorcycle group seems a lot more badass than Surfers, which they had in the sequel with whether Kiefer Sutherland's cousin or whoever the hell he was, Angus Sutherland, who just did a really, really poor fucking job. But yeah. I wonder if that lighthouse, if that was like some model work or stuff being done. I don't know. I guess in a way you look at it, they're testing Jason Patrick out to see if he's good enough to be one of us, if he's good enough to join the group, or we'll just take them and kill them and eat them. Who? Just you, man. Like I said, Jason Patrick does a good job in this film. And Kiefer just works perfectly. Where you tell he's just having a ball. And he just. The voice, the mannerisms. Yeah, they're just having a ball in this place. That feels like a shithole, but with that Jim Morrison poster in the back. By the way, the later on, do vampires have the ability to make people see things? Because you eat worms, Michael. They're noodles, Michael. I never really understood that. I didn't. Are vampires able to manipulate what people see in that way? I'm saying as if vampires exist, so they have rules. I'm just saying if they're able to do that, then wouldn't there be other things they could maybe manipulate into seeing or not seeing? Who is that lady in the back? I'm trying to... Can't tell who that lady is in the back in that poster. That weird clock is like a giant watch, so definitely some interesting production value when you look around some of these sets. I don't know what breed that dog is. I'm not good at knowing that, but I like the look of that dog. Yeah, why the hell would you ever want this in your fucking thing, man? That is a kind of weird to have that picture. Was it Rob Lowe or something? That that's why some people think Baby Corey Haim's character was a bit bi or something else. True. Where is that light coming from? Well, I guess, I mean, there's Thames around, but where is that light coming from? Obviously, vampires don't like sunlights, and it's nighttime. You're eating maggots. Here's some noodles. Like again, it seems like they have this power to be able to manipulate what he sees, but I don't think they ever do that ever again. So it makes me wonder what is it, how they're able to deal with that power, and do they never really use that again where they manipulate what he sees. If they can manipulate what he sees, could they manipulate what other people see? I look at this bottle, like the way the outside is decorated. I did some nice bits with the production design. It could just been a regular bottle, but it's like, no, let's spiff it up a bit. Again, where is this light coming from? Like, is this like just put random spotlights? Because like again, the rest you see are candles, so I don't even know if they have power in this place. Electricity. So I guess they just have some random spotlight. Yeah, we try to find out it's blood in there. Yeah, just like oh yeah, it was maggots and it was worms. So are we made believe that's maybe vampire blood? And that's how he's slowly getting consumed and to be turned to a vampire, at least halfway through. So does it mean the other vampires, do they, because Kiefer Sutherland drank a bit of it, do they also drink vampire blood as well? Or they're okay with drinking it, or? Definitely some interesting editing techniques in this. Well, not edited, but it dissolves. Oh yeah, we're getting this bit here with the bridge. Michael, let go. I think because you have such a good cast, a great soundtrack to envelope the movie. It's a nice stylish direction. Definitely helps the whole proceedings. But again, like, if that's vampire blood that's helping him turn, does it mean like Kiefer was drinking, like the others are able to drink vampire blood? I don't know why I'm getting hung up on that. I just asking questions. So looking at some info, film originally was set to be Richard Donner's directed joint. 13 or 14-year-old vampires, while the Frog Brothers were chubby 8-year-old Cub Scouts, and the character of Star was a young boy. But Richard Donner, I mean, he would want to do Lethal Weapon this year, 87. Joe Schumacher came in, his age of the characters, more adult, more sexy. Shot in Santa Cruz, California from June 86 to June 23rd, 86. 21 days of filming. God, only 21 days? And look at the way this is directed. Like, for the most part, you see little shots, but for the most part, it's kind of. Well, those some nice wide shots here to show the train. Can you imagine you're in this situation? What the fuck is going on? What the hell's happening? And are they dead? What the fuck's going on? What's happening? You know, am I going to be able to pull myself up, survive the situation? Then he hears. So maybe now part of it is like, okay, this is some kind of like they would do in college, where do the test. Maybe in his eyes he's thinking like maybe there's some kind of stuff down below to break your fall. But I guess in a way this is trying to showcase that you can fly, but try not to do it in such a silly, goofy way as well. But the showcase flight. In a weird way, it's kind of a literal fall from grace as well. Sort of that final doorway into finally turning into being one of them. Obviously not all the way, because he can still be in sunlight and all this stuff, but on his way. They worked well as brothers as well, Jason Patrick and Corey Haim. All of a sudden, I see the production of that old video store, like TV electronics store, just to see how electronics have changed from then to now. Like a complete point of hard to even recognize for younger folks, I'm sure. Like I said, Diane Weiss did a good job, like showcasing such a sweet person, character that anyone would like to have as a mom. That type of character. I mean, she's won 2 Academy Awards. Hannah and Her Sisters and Bullets Over Broadway. Both Woody Allen films. And I also remember she was Gene Hackman's wife in The Birdcage with Robin Williams. I think the last thing I remember her in was the Clint Eastwood film The Mule. I say it's interesting how certain scenes they like you think you see more than you really do. Like this bit here, the showcase that they're swarming everywhere. All you seen is must be people in real life just going around with fucking flashlights passing by. But you put in these camera movements, the sounds of the motorcycles, the music rising up, and you get the idea they're being swarmed by everybody and what the hell's going to happen here. When all in reality it was probably just a couple fucking flashlights or such out there. But yeah, I guess to talk a little bit about Corey Haim, I've always been a fan of Corey Haim. Always have been. And one of the films I grew up watching with him was Watchers, which sadly does not have a Blu-ray. Now, technically, I have a Blu-ray. It's just not from the official connections. But it's never been officially released on Blu-ray, which is a shame. Because I think... I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff that Sally went on with his life. And I do think Corey Feldman and Corey Haim were not as good friends as people assume they were. Maybe they were good friends for a little while, but in the last quite a few years of their life, they were not close at all. Once they get together for publicity, because they knew that they were popular as a duo. But they say there's a lot where Corey Haim really wanted to disassociate himself with Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, like, the guy who hurt Corey Haim was a guy named Dominic Brazier. Dominic Brazier, if you remember Friday the 13th Part 5, the guy who gets killed early on with an axe, the guy with the chocolate, he had the chocolate bar, and then the one guy with the axe hits him. That guy with the chocolate bar, that's Dominic Brazier. And I think Haim himself has said that that's the guy who abused me. Even after this was known, Corey Feldman was still friends with this guy. He's friends with this guy before, during, and after. And even then, word is that on the film was a National Lampoon's, I want to say it was Last Resort. or one of those movies. Maybe it was might have been a different movie. The what was that? The forget might be a different movie. There was like, oh yeah, Corey Haim pushed Corey Feldman against the wall to the drugs. No, the word is that happened because Corey Feldman hired Dominic Brazier to be part of the film, and Haim looked and said, "What the fuck?" and then pushed Feldman against the wall. And it just, again, definitely recommend Lord of the Lies, Corey Feldman. I definitely recommend. There's other like podcasts, like Scott Schwartz talks about his friendship and worked with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman from Susie 2 7979, among other stuff. And definitely some interesting work on there. And let's put it this way: Scott Schwartz's story has never changed, but Corey Feldman's story keeps changing. Now, getting back to this, of course, is when I mean, you can understand, Corey Haim's bit of fear as to what they're supposed to do next. And sadly, I think because of the, what happened to him as a kid, because of people like Dominic Brazier, I think Corey Feldman later on was a manipulator who acts innocent. Maybe something did happen to Feldman, but I think there's other aspects to it. Who are these fucking hippie people, by the way? That's another thing. It's like they add these little intricate, not intricate, but these little seeds in there. Like, who is this hippie couple? And this is another decent way of showcasing flight, this whole floating bit here. And again, I can appreciate the hard work into how do you showcase flight. Like Superman the movie worst is a Superman. The red white, I mean the red and blue outfit, Christopher Reeve's earnest performance, the music. That would not work as much in a dark serious horror movie or in a movie like this. It's interesting. Like, what would happen? Like, you wouldn't just automatically know how to fly, but you wouldn't be able to control it. What the hell would you do? This fear of like if you go out, you'll be sucked right to the sky. You don't know how to control it. What's going on? There's confusion. Again, showcasing that confusion and fear about it. And another horror film be like, no, this is a stupid decision. See, that's the thing with depending on the mood, the what kind of film you're watching. In any other movie, if we, the audience, knew this guy was a villain, we'd be all, oh my god, Corey Haim does the stupidest thing. He let the guy in. You dumbass idiot. But then because the audience knows who Jason Patrick's situation, it's, oh, come on, please let him in. Let him in. Let him in. So it's all a matter of perception. I guess it's like everything. It's all a matter of perception. It's all a matter of the different point of view you look into with each situation. And this made over 30 million at the box office with an $8.5 million budget. There were comic books. 2008, there was a comic book series, Lost Boys: Reign of Frogs. David makes a reappearance in that. There was a comic book miniseries 2016, The Lost Boys, where Michael, Sam, and the Frog Brothers must protect Star from her sisters, the Blood Bells. Kiefer's David character was impaled on aliens but does not explode or dissolve as do the other vampires, because he was intended to have survived and would be picked up in a sequel called The Lost Girls. Really? I mean, that's true, he doesn't explode or anything, but I just thought that was a stylistic choice, but that's why, okay. Scripts for this and other sequels circulated over the years. Joe Schumacher made several attempts at a sequel during the 90s, but nothing came to fruition. Yeah, I heard from many upon many years them wanting to make a sequel, The Lost Girls, and it just never came to be. Which is fine with me. I didn't really need it. I mean, they did Lost Boys: The Tribe with Kiefer's half-brother, Angus Ellen. I thought that was absolutely terrible. I thought that was absolutely awful. It was like a wannabe remake of the first film. Corey Feldman's in it for like, seems like 5 minutes. Kills like one vampire. I thought the two leads, it's like instead of a brother and a brother, it's a brother and sister. Instead of motorcycles, it's surfing. Angus Ellen was not a patch on his half brother, Kiefer. The two leads were really boring. Lost Boys: The Thirst I didn't mind. I mean, despite my thoughts of Corey Feldman, he's definitely more the star. There's a big battle in like DC. The Jameson Newlanders turned to a half vampire. It's years later. Corey Feldman comes out. There's this. What's it called? This. I can't remember the details. A lot of people don't like the. I actually thought Lost Boys: The Thirst 4 direct-to-video film was actually pretty decent. I did. I always thought it was a pretty decent movie. And yeah, the soundtrack is great. I mean, Good Times by Jimmy Barnes and NXS. Lost in the Shadows. Don't let the sun go down on me. People Are Strange, Outgrow the Bunnymen. Cry Little Sister. Remember having the cassette of this and listening to this from time to time. That definitely keep the camera moving, as is sort of called the MTV vampire movie. But it makes sense because MTV was humongously popular. People forget how popular MTV was at a point. Like, MTV was part of the youth culture. That's why your wrestling got involved with it a few years before, and you had Cyndi Lauper and the War to Settle the Score, and that developed into building up for WrestleMania 1. And then MTV involved in then you have these cartoons like Beavis and Butthead and things of that nature coming up in the stratosphere. Music videos, the hot bands. That seemed like if you liked MTV, you were the cool guy, you were the cool kid. That was the youth culture. And then, as years went on, Stop doing music videos on there. Stop having music television, and just I know it got to a point with MTV. It's like, well, here's episodes of I don't know, Cops, or it just became any other show. Let's get what's popular syndication, put it on there. Even though it's called music television or reality shows. Nowadays, is MTV even around? I don't even know. Is MTV even around? That's actually I'm curious about. MTV schedule. Because I don't have cable, so I don't watch it. I do like that camera work, and obviously they have to have some kind of cut from the outside to the inside, but make it look like it's all one go. I don't know. I thought that was pretty well done on that front. Uphealed. You live forever, never die, never get sick. Okay, MTV schedule. Let me see. Let's see if I can. Gotta wait for my Sally internet computer to have the damn thing up for being able to see the shit. You say this is a case of you, the rebellious teen growing up, wanting to rebel and do certain things, but at the same time, he's not completely oblivious to the situation. It's just he's trying to handle it on his own and not get his mom involved. Has a 7.2 on IMDb. Good. It's a pretty good rating. Yeah, they definitely got some really nice locations during this movie. Like a nice setting for it. And I guess you could say this is the first inclination, really, of the audience of who this Max character is. This sort of devil dog. Because Joe Schumacher, I mean, this is still early on in his career, but he is a talented guy. He is a talented, and there you go, the Hounds of Hell, and there you go. So to plant seeds like this so that the ending doesn't seem so out of the blue, like what the fuck? That makes no sense. Edward Herman's that? No, this is. When you think back on it, there's a reason Edward Herman and looked at those Kiefer selling those guys, but that this is another big inclination of who this guy is. Fucking Cujo there. To your brother, you'll feel better. And here's the thing is that Corey Haim does figure it out. He actually does figure it out. It's just this, as he puts it, you should know you don't invite a vampire near your house, and it renders all this stuff, pointless. But yeah, so Corey Haim's here to figure it out before it all. I mean, okay, if it was like 1990, 1991, and you did a sequel that was just Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, and Corey Haim, the Fraud Brothers, Maybe that could have been enticing. I don't know, it needs to be the Lost Girls, but maybe it could be enticing, but yeah. Okay, so Tuesday, May 23rd, this is what I'm doing this. What's on MTV? Catfish the TV show, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta running back, 6, 7 p.m. MTV Couples Retreat, Ridiculousness, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So Ridiculousness, which is kind of just looking at like how the hell would you even describe ridiculousness? Just look it up. From like 9 p.m. all the way into 3 a.m. Well, actually, from to 8:30 a.m. the next day, and then Catfish the TV show. So Catfish the TV show, Ridiculousness. That's most of the damn day, and then one of MTV a couples retreat, yeah, and then Love and Hip Hop Atlanta running back. Like that's MTV of today. Ridiculousness and Catfish. My God, that's so fucking crazy, man. It's so crazy to me. And apparently tomorrow, like most of the day, is just Catfish TV show and Ridiculousness. That's again, people don't realize what MTV was back in the day, and this stuff here. My God, man. Internet videos run amok. Viral videos being critiqued by Rob, who I remember from Robin Big. He was a skateboarder. Holy shit, man. That is ridiculousness. My God. But yeah, what can you do? So now he's doing all these tests, but then come to find out that, again, you invited a vampire into the home. It's all pointless. And of course the Frog Brothers, oh yeah, of course we knew that. That just dumbfounds me. Well, it doesn't dumbfound me, but just a sad state of affairs of. Just. Oh yeah, this is where they do all this things here, and I don't know. Sorry, I went kind of quiet. I'm just looking up what MTV is nowadays. I just kind of like, what? Holy shit. Anyway. Yeah, what can you do? Now, as for the film itself, let's say a vampire film's From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite. Love the action and the Tarantino type of dialogue all infused within that. Fright Night would probably be number two. The whole idea of a guy trying to get this TV personality, this horror film host to join him. There's something appealing about that for me. And Ryan McDowell was just fantastic, just Peter Vincent. This might be number three. This might be number three. Oh yeah, that's Aerosmith. Just realized they were listening to Aerosmith. Walk this way. So crazy to keep seeing Alex Winter in there very early in his career. By this point, he had only done bit roles in films like Death Wish 3. He was one of the punks, among other movies. I remember for a while, Alex Winter, he wanted to do a remake of The Gate in 3D, and then that never came to fruition. But yeah, really, I mean, all you remember him from is now the Bill and Ted films, which there's three of them now. I do wonder sometimes, like someone like Alex Winter, if they looked at someone like Keanu Reeves, right? You know, they're still friends, but it's like he looks at Keanu Reeves and just see how successful a career he got. Speed, the Matrix films, the John Wick films now. And there's times like, man, I wish my career had gone that way. I do like the vampire makeup. I think it's very efficient. Now, obviously, here, I'm sure they had to work on how much gore they could actually show, and you don't see a whole lot because the MPA was rampant in this time period. So, you see a little bit of blood, but they're fairly quick cuts. Because the MPA, like I said, they were just bucking down on anything, especially horror related. I mean, you see how much Friday the 13th Part 7 New Blood, all the blood was pretty much cut out. And other slasher movies at that time period, just cutting everything to shreds. So I'm sure maybe they had that foresight of, it's going to be rated R, but we can't be worried at NC-17. There's a lot of talk on the soundtrack, but I think that the composer did a fairly good job as well, complimenting the film. Grow, never die. Like in this scene, the score very much complements the film. It's kind of weird that the grandpa knows there's vampires. He should have knows by now that something's going on, and he doesn't really do anything about it. So I think that's a bit weird of the grandpa. I mean, right, but no, if he said something, then these two would believe him. It's like, yeah, you're right, grandpa. I mean, I thought you had to be invited in. She just walked in. She wasn't invited in. I thought don't you have to be invited in? Well, I guess not. Guess not really. Maybe not. And that dialogue is definitely important where she says, "You were supposed to be my first," so that means she's a half vampire as well. So, thus, by the end, when they kill him, she turns back to being human. And speaking of the score, there's another great piece of the score that really fits with the. This is a fun bit of montage, these preparations. And it is the Frog Bros are fun supporting characters, have that Rambo mentality. Now it makes you wonder, like he puts this post in, and there's a sharp point that maybe there's a reason he's doing that on purpose. Because why else would he have the point, the top that sharp? Which of course that comes into play because he comes in with the truck, the thing flies off, and it impales Edward Herman's character. Now, how the hell you would know that your truck would be able to do that, impale the damn thing, and you knew Edward Herman would be standing there and not impale Diane Weist or Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, or whoever, but hey, it is what it is. As weird as that line is, it's still kind of a sweet line. Even though you're a vampire, you're still my brother. So, sorry, now I'm just watching the film. I apologize for that, folks. It's hard to do. I mean, I'm trying to do the best on commentaries. It's hard to keep up finding stuff to talk about consistently. Because I just get lost in watching the film and enjoying and listening to the dialogue and the music. Getting some nice work on the production design here. Yeah, I don't know why they gave Corey Haim like the ugliest outfits ever. Like just shit upon shit in terms of outfits for some reason. And you tell like this concept is a little bit of that what the original like Goonies type of concept of The kids going after the vampires. Which, I mean, funny enough, you had a bit of that with the Monster Squad, which I think that was the same year, 87, I believe. Which that did not do nearly as well as the Lost Boys. No coffins. Nope, no coffins. Interesting idea to have them hang upside down like actual bats. I mean, I don't know what they expected. I mean, did they expect all of them to be quiet and dying and stake through the heart? I mean, they didn't expect the others to wake up and shit, but you know, you disturb the hornet's nest. I don't know, what do you expect? Really great makeup on Kiefer. He really knows how to sell that vampire look. The eyes, the teeth. And I think by this point he was, yeah, he had worked with Corey Feldman on Stand By Me. That's a nice little effect there with the hand turning to fire. Having to do that all practical and no CGI additions. That was also another interesting choice to have him start laughing. Obviously, the tear coming down to the pain, but it's like, okay, I'll get your ass later. This means war, alright. If that's how you want to play it, kind of that reaction. I mean, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman had a good chemistry with each other. There's a reason why they made a series of films together and why there was a little team throughout. And Salio because of all these other aspects. Let's see, the grandpa character just confusing to me because he obviously knows what's going on at this point. That he has to know that these guys know that there's vampires going on, and he doesn't do anything to help, doesn't do anything to showcase it, doesn't do anything of let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, why? Just to have that reveal at the end, oh, the goddamn vampires. And yeah, she's not gonna. God, all those VHS tapes now. I'm just looking at all these VHS tapes back today. But he had video stores. I miss video stores. I used to work at a video store until it closed down because of lack of business. I worked there from 2007 to about 2012. So yeah, about 5 years. And it's one of those jobs that you complain about it first because no one wants to work, but then looking back, it's like, you know what, Ashley was the best job I ever had. Because I could rent movies for free. The hours actually were pretty decent. Even close up at night, honestly, looking back, is actually more comfortable because you're by yourself. There's no one on your shoulder. And in retrospect, I would have just clocked out and then just do all the stuff tape by time. Just I love the atmosphere of a video store. The atmosphere of the video store is nice and quiet. There's no noise. It was a small town. It was dead, like dead at night, and no one on the streets, no cars on the streets, and just this sort of relaxing feel to it all. And just I miss it. And Richards, I do miss that very much. And if I could, I wish I was back there again, working at that video store. I really do. Yeah, there are annoyances with people not knowing how to return their movies. Because there's like a thing here, and then there's like a garbage can, and they were so stupid. Some people would actually put in the garbage can and not in the slot that you put it in that goes to us in the store. Or your customer, there's no way to check every single movie because there's times where you get like hundreds of movies a day, and there's no way to clean them all because the machine takes like 5 minutes to clean one disc. But understandably, they ran a movie, it doesn't work, they come back, they're pissed that they had to come back, and you understand their frustration, but at the same time, there's when you're only given like 2 people, it's like, unless you get one person to stay there and clean every disc, because every movie would get scratched up, every single movie would come back scratched up, stuffed up, just people didn't care. So, and again, to clean one disc would take like at least 5 minutes. And again, when you get like, here's 20, 30, 40, 50 movies within an hour, it's impossible to do it. So I don't know. But even with all those headaches, I do still miss the video store. Oh, here's that shot, but kind of reversed. Not kind of, but reversed. They're in the layer, then an edit, and now showing the outskirts of it. Again, nice backdrop with all the roller coasters and stuff. It's been a long time since I've been to a fair and an amusement park. I would love to go back one day. I would love one day to ride a roller coaster again. I haven't ridden a roller coaster. God. It's probably been at least 20 years since I've ridden a roller coaster. At least 20 years. I would love to ride one again. There's not a lot of that in Texas, though, but I would love to ride one again. Everyone forgot the dog. How did everyone forget about the dog? How the hell did no one realize they let the dog out there? But yeah, I don't blame the Corey Haim. I would want to go get the dog as well. So I do like the build up, the whooshing of the wind cuts getting a bit more and more heavy. The build up of emotion. It's a really nice job, and again the point of view shots worked really well. Like if you kept coming back to people flying like this, it would ruin the moment. But it gives that mystery. You don't quite know how close they are, except some of these POV shots. And a lot of like camera pans, zooms, I should say. A lot of zooms showcased throughout it. Watching this film again, which ooh shit. That was you're next, pal. Oh shit. There you go. Boom. There you go. Good job on the dog. But also, this is what I'm talking about. Like the I've said about other movies, the creativity. It's like, okay, we have a bunch of vampires. We want them to be killed. Let's do them get killed in different ways. So you have the stake through the heart. Boom. Okay, here was let's have a guy melt and just absolute fucking crazy with all this shit here. I mean, why does it make everything else explode? I guess in a way, kind of the melt of their body, and if their body can explode, maybe their skin, blood, all this stuff is this combustible concoction that makes these things explode as well. Maybe that's the idea behind it. But it's okay. Let's have one melt, and this guy he fucking explodes. We use a stake. We use holy water. Now it's going to be this bow and arrow. And also each one get their moments to shine. You know, the Fraud Brothers got a little bit of their moments to shine. Like they stabbed one, they helped with the dog. They got that one. Corey Haim gets his moment to shine, and then Jason Patrick will get his moment to shine against Tiefer. I would get one ready just in case. You miss sucker. Nice. Was it Death by Stereo? I think it explodes, right? Hoo shit. Death by Stereo. Oh shit. That's it is. I said, and also I appreciate that they did this one at a time because nowadays they might do this thing where let's have all three happen at the same time and it keeps cutting in between. So it'd be like, yeah, these guys really did work well together in this movie. The meanest, the baddest. But what was I going to say before? I forget what I was going to say. The return of Eddie Munster. I always like that line as well. The Return of Eddie Munster. I was saying in another movie, like a movie today, they would take like okay, the Frog Brothers deal with the vampire, but then it would also intercut with Corey Haim deal with the vampire, and then maybe even intercut with this. Like you see that in certain action films, was like Cradle to the Grave and some of those movies. I mean, that was in the 2000s. Like it's happened at the same time, so it's intercut here, and as you get into that scene, they intercut to this, then intercut to this, to give a certain sense of we gotta keep the audience interested. There's this too ADD. The audience too ADD. We can't let them relax and calm down. No shit. Of course, we got a little bit of this vampire fight now. Was this vampire quick? I mean, it does seem a bit quick, this vampire fight. I mean, nowadays, maybe it doesn't look as intricate or as big as people thought. It's like they're in there for a little bit, push it to a wall, and then here push to another wall. Or, not wall, but another possible impalement. Because nowadays it'd be a much bigger fight. It'd be like punches and going through the ceiling, or punch going through the floor, throwing through walls, bashing through walls. It's that same light spotlight, obviously just for stylistic choice. An interesting take on the Cry Little Sister mixed in with the score. Then nice little take on it. Here we were going to get the yeah, we come to find out who. Sorry, like I said, I'm just getting to the movie. I like the red lighting used in this. I think it helps with the atmosphere of the scene. And I think that's why this twist, in retrospect, works. Maybe when I first saw it, I'm like, I don't know about, but it did the Hellhound, the Corey Haim's reasoning was actually sound, and he was right. I mean, I actually think this is kind of an interesting take on it. Like this head vampire wanting a family. And it kind of also gets into the interest of a bit of why Tifa was centered on the Jason Patrick's character, following the direction of Edward Herman. Ooh, shit. It's a pretty damn good throw. I doubt kicking him in the balls would do anything to a vampire, I would assume. And then again, they made Diane Weiss such a sweet character that you feel sorry for her during this whole thing. Nice explosive ending there. But again, like the grandpa, like his whole plan was like, okay, how did he know nobody was there that he would run over? How did he know that this would impale the guy? That the board would fly that way? That it would not, impale Corey Haim or Diane Weist or, like I said, the grandpa. I mean, it works for a fun bit for the finale and an explosive finale, but really, grandpa makes no fucking sense. But it's fun. I'll say it is fun. It has a great line at the end. I'll say that. It has a great line. This realization that he knew the whole time. But at the same time, it's like, huh? I think for a split second I thought, oh no, now he was like, no, he can't be a vampire because he's in the daytime. But just a fun, satisfying, entertaining movie. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the line. So yeah, he knew the whole damn time, that fucking asshole, and didn't tell anybody. Back to People Are Strange. Still a fun movie, still holds up, has a fantastic soundtrack. The cast worked really well together. I would easily still say my favorite Jason Patrick role. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman worked well together. You just see the chemistry and why it led to them doing a bunch of movies together. I wonder whatever happened to Edward Herman's dog, Thorn, that dog. I wonder if it's still out there as a hound of hell or what the deal is. But a lot of good style by Joe Schumacher's direction, some great aerial shots that are fairly impressive today. Some nice good gore in the end of the melting or exploding vampires. The rest of the movie isn't as bloody as maybe people think. Had a good MTV sexy style for vampires, so it made it feel like its own, made it feel unique, but it wasn't boring either. It went at a good pace. Still easily in my top 5 vampire films. Like I said, the second one I'm not a fan of. The third one I actually don't mind. I can enjoy that movie. I did for a direct-to-video movie. I actually think it's pretty decent. And overall, still a fun movie to watch. Rest in peace, Joe Schumacher. I think you're an underrated director. Falling Down, 8mm, DC Cab, this film. And he wasn't just Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, folks. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.